My name is Anthony Daniels Wojciechowski. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I came to Iowa to pursue an education in biology and use that to become a physician assistant, which is sort of my dream job. And that's essentially just someone who is the right-hand man of a surgeon during the time of surgeries, and they meet with the patients of that surgeon and become their medicinal provider before and after operations. Well, growing up, I grew up with a lot of brothers and sisters in a pretty crowded household. I lived with my mom and my grandparents. And so, being the eldest of my mother's children, I had to sort of mature quicker than the rest and kind of look out for them in a way. And in doing so, one of the simple tasks that I picked up very early on was cooking. So obviously, it's probably started with simple things like learning how to boil noodles or something, and learning how to make macaroni or ramen for that matter. But throughout time, it definitely became an interest of mine. I've always been a really open-minded person, someone who really enjoyed trying new things and exploring. So cooking was just another path that I could explore, where you could take different kinds of ethnic foods or even basic American dishes, something that I'm used to, like a hamburger or something, and then just try to throw different seasonings on the patty or explore different condiments and things of that nature. So cooking is definitely something that I enjoy, just because there's so many different ways to tweak what you're working with and try something new and experiment with new flavors. Currently, I'm working at Aldi in Coralville, and it's a grocery. It's a local grocery. It's definitely a smaller grocery, but it's enjoyable. Everyone there, which is something that they told me right off the bat, is essentially a jack of all trades. And I mean that in that when you get hired, being a cashier is sort of a given. You're there to help out with cashiering, but beyond that, you're also taught the routine of restocking shelves and how they want things organized. Everyone sort of has to assume the duty of being able to handle overstock items or just the inventory items, whether they need to be put into the inventory into our back room or be taken out and placed onto the floor. So for the most part, everyone there, including myself, does a little bit of everything. And obviously that comes with cleaning as well, your basic store maintenance things, and cashiering. So I do quite a bit over there, I suppose, other than the managerial position. Challenge with work isn't the greatest. However, that's because there isn't much to be challenged by. But what is challenging, I suppose, is putting out groceries and extra stock from our inventory when there's busy days like Sundays. Sundays are some of our busiest days of the week, and when we're trying to stock shelves and there's a lot of people in there, that's probably the greatest challenge. Other than that, the work comes in pretty simple forms. Enjoyment would have to be meeting people. I definitely enjoy when people start conversations, a little bit more than small talk, but obviously not the most intimate, given that I'm just a cashier. But meeting new people and getting a sense of how other people are from the area is really enjoyable to me, being someone who is technically an alien to this region, I suppose, of the Midwest, so to speak. Lake McBride was a beautiful place, and I'm really glad I got to see that, because for a while I was just under the impression that outside of Iowa City I was just surrounded by cornfields. And living on the southwest side of Chicago for most of my life, it's maybe a 15-minute drive at most to your nearest forest preserve or lake, pond, something that's very nature oriented that you could go and explore. And for a little while that made me pretty homesick, thinking, oh, there's nothing like that around here. There's no lakes, there's no forest preserves, there's no trails that I could trek, But Lake McBride was definitely eye-opening because it was just this massive body of water in the middle of what I thought was nowhere, and I found it to be a gorgeous place, and I'm really glad I got to see that, and I got some pretty cool shots there that I was really proud of. Driving to me is, especially in more recent times, has never been a bother. I know some people would say that driving is like a hassle and they don't like to do it, things like that. To me, it's just kind of like secondary. It's almost necessary to do a lot of things that I enjoy. Being school, that I have to be there, my obligations to work, and especially going places that are points of interest, like, for example, Lake McBride. I wouldn't have been able to go there if I hadn't driven there. I also like road tripping a lot, and road tripping to me has always been a really cool and interesting sort of adventure to go on, because there's so much terrain that you get to see and experience and take in, and being on the road is just really nice, I guess. I enjoy it a lot. So photography is definitely something that I kind of stumbled upon within recent years. I definitely consider myself an amateur. I don't have like a nice fancy Nikon or Canon that I'm working with at the moment. But with writing, it was something that I could do to kind of just explore an interest of mine and broaden just another horizon that I wanted to see or explore. So with photography, I really try to capture intricate things that other people might overlook throughout everyday life. I definitely haven't found like my favorite way of taking pictures of people, or even myself for that matter, but when I take pictures of objects, I really like just looking and focusing on the intricacies of those things and their surroundings sometimes. One way that I sort of prepare myself and kind of approach the idea of succeeding is by developing a really strong sense of organization for myself. For example, like I keep 2 calendars, one being in like a planner that I got from school and one on my wall. To me, it's kind of something that really helps you see your foreseeable future and even tackle tasks that might even come up immediately, like throughout the day. And it's important that I end up successful because of the setting that I came from, in that I grew up in a crowded household, and my mom, having me very young, worked at a liquor store to, just kind of make money to support and raise me. And so I see that as someone else taking a pretty great sacrifice to offer me better possibilities in my future. And I don't take that for granted. I like to look at that in hindsight and say, this is what produced me, and how can I use that to promote and develop my own success and prosperous future. And I'm Anthony Wojciechowski. I've always been a strong, independent optimist with a powerful personality. That's part of the reason I want to become a doctor.